All right, today we're diving into a really cool tool called CryptoScope. Now, this isn't just another charting platform. The claim here is pretty bold. It wants to give traders a completely new way to see the market. So let's unpack that and see if it actually delivers. So right off the bat, the idea behind CryptoScope is, well, it's pretty epic. They want you to think of it like a control tower, Like you're sitting up high, overlooking this vast, futuristic city that is the crypto market. It's not about staring at squiggly lines on a chart. It's about having this commanding, top-down view of everything. And honestly, that whole metaphor, that's kind of the key to what this thing is trying to be.
Okay, so how in the world do they pull that off? The whole thing is built around this concept they call a digital twin market. And yeah, it's a pretty wild idea. We're talking about creating a living, breathing replica of the entire crypto world, live right there on your screen.
So what exactly is a digital twin when we're talking about markets? Look, it's not just a picture or a snapshot that updates every few minutes. No. This is a continuous, live, real-time copy of the market. It's constantly projecting everything, the flow of money, the tug of war between buyers and sellers, even spotting patterns as they start to form and putting it all right in front of you. Now that sounds incredibly ambitious, right? So you gotta wonder, what's the magic behind it? Well, it all boils down to its data engine, which is working in real time. Let's peel back the layers and see what this thing is actually chewing on. First up, the engine has its eyes on the big players. We're talking about the top 35 crypto coins, ranked by trading volume on Binance Futures. And that's smart, right? By focusing on where the real action is, where the most money is moving, you get this massive, wide-angle view of the market's pulse. But here's where it gets really interesting. For every single one of those 35 coins, the system is doing something that's, well, it's pretty crucial. It's looking at 4 different timeframes, not one after the other, but all at the same time, simultaneously. And these aren't just random timeframes. They cover pretty much the whole spectrum of how people trade. You've got your super short-term stuff, the 5-minute and 15-minute charts, perfect for scalpers. Then you've got the 1-hour and 4-hour views for people who are playing the longer game, swing traders. By mashing all of this together into one single view, the goal is to give you a complete, holistic picture of where the market's momentum is really heading. Okay, so let's just pause for a second. We've got data from 35 coins, each with 4 timeframes running at once. That's not a stream of data, that's a fire hose. It's a ton of information, maybe even too much. So the real challenge, and this is where CryptoScope starts to show off its cool features, is how do you turn all of that chaos, all of that noise, into a signal you can actually use?
Their first answer to that problem is something called the scalping score, and the idea is brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of making you stare at 10 different indicators and try to figure out what they all mean, the system does the hard work for you. It boils down that whole complex battle between buyers and sellers into one single easy-to-understand number. It just goes from -100, which is super bearish, to +100, which is super bullish. That's it. And this isn't just some random number they pulled out of a hat. It's actually weighted based on what's really happening in the market. So a full 50% of the score comes from trades that have actually happened, real money on the line. Then 30% is based on the order book, which is kind of like what traders are saying they're going to do. And the last 20%? That comes from something called cumulative volume delta, which is basically a fancy way of tracking if there's more aggressive buying or selling happening right now. It gives you a really clear sense of the pressure. But what really matters is what you do with it, right? And they make it super straightforward. The system gives you these clear tripwires. If the score goes above +60, that's a strong signal to go long. If it drops below -60, that's a strong signal to go short. It's like having an instant temperature check for the market. Simple as that. All right, the next big feature tackles a totally different, very modern problem. How do you actually use all these powerful new AIs for trading? I mean, everyone's talking about it. Well, CryptoScope sees itself as the bridge, the thing that connects your human intuition, your gut feeling, with the insane number-crunching power of artificial intelligence. And the way they do it is just so simple. It's a 3-step process. 1, you see a coin you're curious about, and you click the AI analysis button. The tool instantly grabs all the important data, candlesticks, indicators, patterns, the whole shebang, and puts it into a perfect prompt. 2, you click to copy it. 3, you just paste it into whatever AI you like to use, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, you name it. And boom, you get an instant, deep analysis. You know how it is with powerful software, right? Usually it's a huge pain to set up, it's complicated, it takes forever.
Well, this is where CryptoScope makes its next big play. They are laser focused on making the whole thing completely effortless for the user. And honestly, this quote from their docs just says it all. Python main.py. That's it. I love that. No crazy installation process, no messing around with config files. You type one little command, hit enter, and you're in. That is literally the entire setup. And because it's so simple, all those annoying little roadblocks just disappear. You don't have to go hunting for API keys. You don't have to dig into configuration files. The program just runs. It pops open in your browser automatically, and it looks great whether you're on a giant desktop monitor or just quickly checking something on your phone. It's totally seamless. And that seamlessness is so important because the whole point is to get you to stop fighting with your tools and start focusing on the market again. So when you put it all together, the zero setup, the whole digital twin idea, that powerful data engine, the simple signals, it all starts to point to a fundamentally new way of looking at and interacting with the market.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. There are a million trading platforms out there, so it's totally fair to be a little skeptical and ask, is this really anything new, or is it just another charting tool with a flashy new coat of paint?
Well, according to the people who built it, what makes it different is the combination of everything we've talked about. You've got that instant zero setup start. You have the built-in AI prompt generator for a super modern workflow. You have the scalping score, which turns a mountain of data into one simple number. Oh, and it's also fully bilingual in Korean and English, which is a huge plus for a global audience. And all of that brings us to their final, and I think most powerful idea. The goal here isn't to just throw more charts and data at you. The goal is to create an experience that's so intuitive, so immersive, that you stop watching the market and you start to actually feel it. Feel its rhythm, its flow. And that leads us with a pretty big question to think about. Could this kind of holistic, almost sensory approach be the future of how we analyze markets?